To Prime Hour on my Media Prime. Today is Wednesday. We are this evening going to be looking at two key aspects touching on national life, especially at the level of municipalities in Cameroon. We're going to be looking at this phenomenon of municipal police, asking ourselves whether they are agents of order or disorder for our respective members of our communities across the nation. We also are going to be looking at urbanization in Cameroon, looking at the key role that we can perceive as having been done by our respective municipal authorities. We're talking about the mayors, the city mayors, for the past 20, 30 years in your cities, villages. Do you have the impression that our mayors are doing everything to beautify, to change the face of our respective cities in Cameroon? We are going to be discussing this with Apostle Ambe, Valentine, Ngwa, who is our consultant, alongside Paddy Asanga, who is going to be coming in through Skype from Hamburg. We are glad to have you, Apostle Ambe, Valentine, Ngwa.
Thank you, Mr. Liu. Good evening, Cameroonians. Good evening, Mr. Paddy Asanga over there in Hamburg. Good evening, fellow viewers of Prime Hour. Today, we are going to be touching something very sensitive, which has been a bone of contention and a serious challenge across the municipalities in the entire regions of Cameroon. And I think by the time we are done handling this topic, you'll be able to understand why the municipal police behave the way they behave and why they're supposed to behave better than the way they are behaving.
Okay. First, the need for municipal police from a common man's perspective. What is the need for these guys?
Yes, Mr. Liu, President Paddy has signed the law of 2019/0224 of 24 December about the municipal police, and their functions were clearly defined in that law. Law 2019/024 on the 24th of December 2019, President Paddy signed the existence and the establishment of the municipal police in Cameroon. So it's a presidential decree. In other words, the municipal police is not an illegal police, it's a police recognized by the state, and it's a law signed in the constitution by President Paddy. 2019 law /024 on the 24th of December 1929.
Yes, presidential decree actually signed the creation of that arm of our municipalities to assist our municipal authorities. But for the common man, what, according to you, does the common man see as the use of a municipal police?
Well, the common man sees the need of a municipal police because the police themselves cannot carry out every function in the city. So the common man needs the municipal police based on their job description. There are so many things that the municipal police have been assigned to do that the ordinary police officer cannot do, and they do not do. So I think there is a need for a municipal police, but now the challenge is they have not defined their job description. What they have as job description is not what they are pursuing. What they have as defined assignment is not what they are pursuing. They have turned it into a money-making issue that is traumatizing the people whom they were sent to serve. They have turned it become a thorn to the flesh of Cameroonians instead of being a blessing to them. I think President Paddy saw the need for the municipal police before signing this decree and giving the councils the opportunity to raise this supporting arm that will help the police who have other responsibilities. As a matter of fact, the description of the job of the municipal police is clearly signed out in the constitution, and I don't know if at all they do not read it, or at all they have decided to read it and then dump it and choose to pursue what they think is right for them. And such things only go successfully because Cameroonians also have refused to study law and be able to understand their constitution and to know where these people are supposed to be placed in the society. Because a municipal police will not come and begin to harass vehicles on the road asking for documents from a police a driver. That is not their assignment of municipal police. Their own is to clear traffic. Theirs is to exhume cops in case the cops supposed to be exhumed in a city. They have to clear damages. Their responsibility is to make sure they do sanitation in the city to keep the city clean. Their responsibility is clearly defined. They have about 16 to 17 responsibility, and asking post ID card on the roadside with their documents of the car is not part of a municipal police assignment.
Yeah, but do you have the impression that these guys, municipal police elements, understand their roles and responsibilities? To have they taken the pains?
They do not.
Okay.
The first of all, the constitution says that they are supposed to be under the watchful eye of the mayor. And if I thought before they have to go out, the mayor has to educate the municipal police their job description. Because sometimes appointing people, assigning people for a job they do not actually know is serious. Mr. Leo, it will surprise you that in a city like Douala, one of the assignments of the municipal police is to control traffic. But every single day and night we are living in the mess of traffic. Traffic here and there, traffic in Dokoti, traffic. You don't see these guys going on traffic grounds. You don't see them exhuming corpses. You don't see them crossing children, because one of their assignments is to cross children from school. You see children going back from school every day. You don't see municipal police closing them. All you see municipal police doing in the city is to carry these hijacking vans that go about carrying post vehicles that are parked wrongly. They told them to clear things close to the roadside. There was no attachment to that law. You must pay a penalty for parking wrongly. I think their responsibility is to clear your car and then put it where it's supposed to be parked. But you see them attach a fine to it, and they are concentrating where that money is tied. Now you see them also standing at the roadside, seeing vehicles coming. They will stop you and ask you for ID card, and ask you for your visit technique, and ask you for your vignette, ask you for your driver's license, asking for your ID card. All these documents, it's not the responsibility of the municipal police. The municipal police is to make sure that there's free circulation in the city, and also clear garbage in the gutters in the city. But you never see them doing that. You get up in the morning from Bunaberi, you drive to Douala, to town, you will never see municipal police clearing the gutters. Children come out from school, they are even knocked down by vehicles. That's their responsibility. You see them around town only with these vehicles that go around carrying post vehicles, and they will ask to pay 50,000 francs. There is no place in that law that states that these people are supposed to collect a levy of 50,000 francs in case you are wrongly parked. Their responsibility is to clear your car where you have parked it to where it's supposed to be parked.
Yeah, but if you say they don't know what the law actually says as far as their job responsibilities are concerned, whose fault is it? Is it the fault of the mayors, who will not recruit persons who are literate enough to understand what the law requires from them?
Of course, I think if there is a mayor who controls a municipality and he's sending out people to go and carry out an assignment, it's the mayor's responsibility to set up a workshop to educate people. I'm a school proprietor. I'm coming from SEDUC, that's the Secretary of Education. Today, the Inspector of Labor was teaching us labor code on how to handle. I'm sure most of the program we do on television here rings a bell. We have been talking about the condition of teachers in the country at the private level and at the government level. And today we're at the SEDUC. The Inspector of Labor was there to educate proprietors on how to treat their teachers and expose a lot of things concerning CMPS and other things that concerns people in the society. Now, it is a mayor's responsibility to get these guys in the morning. If they are praying, they pray, and tell them that this is your job description, because most of them do not even know the job description. The problem with the average Cameroonian is that they don't know the constitution. They don't study the constitution and don't know about it. So once they give you that uniform on your body as the municipal police, the first thing that rings in your head is power. Now, how do you exercise the power? Because power was given to you to build, not to destroy. That's actually what the Bible even says in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13. It says God has given us power to build, not to destroy. But the average Cameroonian, once they receive power, the first thing is to either do a revenge on somebody that they are angry with or what. And that's the reason why I don't stop when they stop me. Because I understand the constitution that their responsibility is not to stand at the roadside and begin to check people's documents. Their own is to demolish also buildings in the society that are dilapidated, that can collapse and cause destruction. They have the responsibility to be ordered by the mayor to go and dismantle or dislodge or break down these buildings so that they don't cause catastrophe. As a matter of fact, the primary objective of these guys is to keep the city clean, set it in order, reduce traffic, and also clear garbage. Direct children who come from school. That's their job description.
We are told Paddy Asanga is online. Good evening, Paddy. We're glad to have you on Prime this evening.
Yes, good evening, Leo. Good evening, Pastor Ambe, and good evening to all your panelists. And I'm happy to be back, and I'm also happy to be on my major Prime on Skype. You know, this is a topic that touches every one of us, and especially those of the Anglophone extraction who are living in Yaoundé and Douala. I think everybody has witnessed the abuse of what you people are calling today the municipal police. And from the onset, the idea of having a municipal police is a good thing. We have it all over in developed countries. Just like here, we have it in Germany. They call them Stadtreinigung. These are people who try to see that the city is clean. And but the problem we have today with the municipal police in Cameroon and in urban areas is that they have a limited mandate, whereas they should be contracted officers of the state. And that is where the problem lies, because they have a very clear job description, but they don't have a mandate, and their mandate is limited to the whims and caprices of the new mayor in town, the new boy in town. And most of these boys are recruited by people, and we don't know the criteria of their recruitment. They have a job description, but there is no vetting. And when a new legislative or a new legislation comes and a new mayor is elected, he goes into his family and gives jobs to his people. And these guys try to enrich themselves, and they do exactly what Pastor Ambe is just telling you. So when we are looking at this problem, we should go to the roots of it and try to find out how we can come out of this embryo that we call municipal police, who are more or less molesting, abusing people, collecting money from themselves, and hoping that within the next 5 years, where the person who put them there would be able to, they'll be able to remunerate the person and remunerate themselves, because they don't have a clear contract, because they are supposed to be contractual agents of the state, not civil servants. Civil servants have a matricule, but municipal police, they are like what you call vacataires, teachers without matricules who hope to be integrated. And these people, I don't know where they train them. I don't know how they recruit them. And that poses a problem. So Pastor Ambe is actually right. And I hope that in the course of our debate or this conversation, we'll be able to elaborate on that, try to find out where the problem is and who actually is the problem. Thank you, Mr. Liu.
Paddy Asanga just raised an issue, method of recruitment. We see a new set once a new mayor comes, and when he goes, the new one comes. There is a new set of municipal police led by different persons, which says that the notion of continuity, the way the style, the functioning also changes. Is that not also the problem? Knowing that I have been brought in by this mayor, and the possibility for me to be there next time when another one comes is very slim. So let me enrich myself as much as I can while this mayor is in office.
Yes, I think they say if you see a bird dancing by the roadside, somebody is playing a drum in the bush. Mm-hmm. These guys do not have such authority and power to exercise what they do in the street if the mayors do not give them the wings to fly. To be sincere, it is the mayors that give these guys a impression that they are having a certain level of authority and power to do whatever they wish to do. As a matter of fact, what was destined to help the people has become instead a bone to the throat of the people. It has become instead a serious challenge to the well-being of the people. As a matter of fact, this thing has instead turned as one of the greatest sources of generating income in the council. Because I can tell you, Mr. Liu, those guys catch from bikes. They catch bikes at the roadside. A bike rider that makes at least 3,000 francs a day is asked to buy a tax payer's card for 12,000 francs. And they catch bikes there and there every day, causing the more. As a matter of fact, they were called to clear traffic. These guys are the highest creators of traffic. Because when they start arresting vehicles at the middle of the road like that, other vehicles come there and then they stop. They block the whole street. Now, if this thing that was destined to help the society has been a source of generating income, it's very serious. As a matter of fact, they have an office and they have receipts they will write and stamp. Then they will tell you that c'est le bureau de transport qui nous a envoyé pour venir travailler ici, ce n'est pas le maire. That's when you start bringing penal code. One time I was confronted on a JD prop in the morning, and I asked that man that, does your job description permit you on this Thursday morning to work? Do you think it's everybody around the Friday road is an illiterate or an ignorant individual? The man say, arrêtez à citer la loi. Nous ne sommes pas le conseil municipal, municipal council. Nous sommes le bureau de transport. Je dis que le bureau de transport travaille le jeudi propre aussi. It's a grand frère que je ne bouge pas ici. They have an office, you go and pay 50,000. They call it infraction, Mr. Liu. From the civil law that we have read in this friend zone, I don't know if driving the street of Douala is infraction. Because you take people who don't even know how words are rightly used, put in the streets, and they will quote you nonsense that has no foundation. That is the information they have given them in the for sending them out. So I think if the mayors are the ones educating these guys and sending them out, they have to educate them and tell them what their job description stands for. There are people in the street who have buildings which are wrongly positioned, but they are not saying anything about that. Their primary objective is vehicles. You will never see, you go to Lycée Bileng Bonaberi, go to Lycée Bileng de Aqua, Lycée Bileng Bonamusadi, even close to the mairie there where Lycée Bileng is, you will never see children crossing roads, and you see municipal police dressed in their regalia and crossing children. They don't do that kind of job. You will not see buildings at the road that are about to collapse. You see them there breaking down those buildings. No. You will not see them clean the streets. No, municipal police don't do that. Yet you will see them going around with this car, the car they call remorque, is to carry vehicles that are wrongly parked. Somebody walks into Douala and doesn't know how the demography of the city is and all the urbanization of the city is, and then he parks somewhere. It's your responsibility to either call the person attention and say, hey, get out from here. They'll come and put something on your tire they call sabo. That sabo is blocked on your tire and you are asked to pay 50,000. Or sometimes you come and check, you will not even see your car where you parked it. Then they will tell you from the control bureau, you go there, they are telling you 50,000 francs for payment. And then they don't even know who to arrest, because as a pastor, I'm minister acute. According to the law, I'm a minister of church service. So I stand in the capacity of a minister. You don't stop me anyhow on the street. They don't know all those laws. They will just get into people and start intimidating them. For those people, they can intimidate, because I've never accepted that they are manipulation. So Cameroonians should be able to understand that these guys were not sent to go about intimidating and harassing people. And municipal police were not a source of income to the council. But I can tell you, one of the sources of income, or one of the most dangerous sources that generate income in the council today, is not even fiscal stamps. It's not even municipal stamps. It's not even birth certificate. It's not even marriage certificate. It's not even death certificate. It is a municipal police, because their one arrest for a vehicle is 50,000. Imagine if they take 50 cars per day times 50,000. No amount of birth certificate signed by the mayor can be able to generate income per day. That's the reason why every mayor that steps into office sees that particular sector as a means of fast generating income. And I don't even know if the state understands that income.
Yeah, but Paddy Asanga, you were in Cameroon recently, though you're back in Hamburg, where you are talking from. You came to Douala, you were in Douala for some time. Yaoundé, you went to Bamenda, you were in Boya. In fact, you were everywhere, and I'm sure you were interacting and engaging so many persons. The impression you read from the reactions of people who are talking about these guys, was it positive or negative? We understand that, I'm sure it was last year where a decision was taken for these guys to change their uniform, because they were confused as normal police officers, and that they were committing so many exactions on the people. Why do we have the impression that things are not changing, despite the fact that they were asked to change their uniforms, because of so many complaints that were going up to Yaoundé and other quarters?
Yes, Leo, I'll be very frank with you. I was with you guys in Douala. I went to Bamenda, I went to Boya, I went to Limbe, I went to Kribi. I went far up north. I went to my village, and everywhere where you, apart from Bamenda, Boya, Kribi, and Bamenda, Boya, Kribi, Limbe, I did not hear any complaints coming about municipal police and all that stuff. I had complaints coming, and I was also a victim of this municipal police in Yaoundé and in Douala, That is the reality. That is what I faced on the ground. And the truth is this. Those uniforms that people have decried municipal police wearing is done by design, because they want to give the impression that they are policemen, whereas they are just contracted agents of their municipalities, and their mandate ends when the next mayor comes in. And they don't want to give that impression that they are just servants who have a different job description apart from the regular police that is supposed to identify people, that carries arms, that is supposed to know where people are supposed to park, regulate traffic, and go after bandits. But these people have abused the role of municipal police in that uniform that they wear. And this is done by design. When this thing was created, those who saw that loophole to make money from themselves decided to dress these boys in an attire that looks like the normal police people, and it is by design, because we know that the regular police has a lot of powers. It can interpret certain laws that are binding to citizens, to you, and this municipal police, sometimes they try to do things like the regular police because they want to intimidate you, to give you the impression that if you don't comply, you will go in jail, whereas they have no jails. They have no jails. They have what they call the municipal compound, what they call in French, voirie municipale, where they can take your cars or lock your car and keep it and block it somewhere. Impound, the English word for this is impoundment. Impound your car somewhere until you pay, and then thing would be released. But you know, I'm also a monitor on the social media. I've seen people who have been impounded abusively by this municipal police, and they just went back to the quarter, brought in a saw, and cut that thing that Pastor Ambe is calling support. And I will encourage every citizen of Cameroon to do the same. So when you see anybody who calls himself dressed like a policeman and is harassing you on the streets, or is trying to extort money from you, telling you about 50,000 and all that stuff, ask that person to identify himself and show you his professional card. That is how Cameroonians are supposed to behave. And I think Pastor Ambe is very, very right, because most of these people, they are recruited from the quarter. These are unemployed people. Some of them are ex-convicts. Some of them are bandits that have been recruited because they are relatives of a councillor, they are a relative of a mayor, they are relative of somebody who has newly been elected in that municipality. And to give that something for them to reach as fast as possible before the mandate of the person or their employee or their recruiter ends. That's where it is. So these uniforms that they are wearing, Cameroonians should be very smart, bold, courageous, be it a police, even though it is even if it is written on his uniform, police, and he asks you to present yourself or wants your document, ask that person to show you his or her professional card, so that these abuses will not continue. So that the question you asked me, it is by design. The first, when these municipal police were created, they wanted it to look like the police. Remember that there is also a premise as far as this issue is concerned. You have security companies who were also dressed like the police, and they committed a lot of abuses until they were compelled to change their uniform so that the ordinary citizen would be able to identify them as regular citizens. These are some of the things that we are decrying, and at the Social Democratic Front, and as a socialist, those who are supposed to protect the society, I decided to come and talk about these things because I believe that in Western world, and I think that it is something, it's a copycat that we have copied and pasted, but it is not adapted to our society, because the job description of the municipal police, what they call here in Germany, Stadtreinigung, is well defined. They don't play the role of the police. They go around, clean the streets, carry garbage, dump them, and make sure that you don't, the community or the municipality in which they are operating in, there are no diseases, and you don't have piles and piles of garbage that stinks, that pollutes the air, and that can result to cholera and all sorts of illnesses that you have back home. So the municipal police in most of our urban towns, apart from those cities that I have named to you, they are not doing their job because they don't actually know their job description. Just like Apostle Ambe said, they go around trying to make money for themselves and for the people who put them there, knowing fully well that their mandate, they have no precise contract. Their contract is limited, and it is even private with the person who put them there. Some of them get dismissed as long as they don't bring in enough money for their masters. These are some of the things that we should be talking about, Mr. Liu. I'm listening to you, and Pastor Ambe, you are on the right track.
Okay, Apostle Ambe, Valentine, Ngwa. These are civilians. They are not.
They are not trained.
They are not trained military officials. Are they supposed not to be nicer to the population because they are taken from the respective quarters of the municipality to help in bringing order, to help in bringing peace, to help the community to be nice? Do you see a friendly relationship between these guys who are civilians with the population? Are they not supposed to be nicer?
Definitely, they are supposed to be nicer with the population. But unfortunately, Mr. Liu, these guys are working out of time. And they don't know if the next person coming in office will employ them anymore. Most of them see an opportunity for them to get a piece of land or build a house that they have been wishing for. It's like you are giving somebody an opportunity that he knows he will not catch up with it again. So he is making hay while the sun shines. That's the reason why most of the mayors, most of the municipal personalities who enter into office, they are not guaranteed they are going to come the next season or the next electoral season. They do everything possible within their power to achieve whatever they think they can achieve within that period. I'm telling you, if you go to describe what these guys have been called to do, they don't do 1/10 of them. Do you know these guys have been called to make sure that street lights don't get bad? But if you walk in the state of Douala, you will see broken street lights everywhere. That doesn't concern them. Do you know these guys are also assigned to go about check edible food stuff that people display in the market? Yeah, they are supposed to check.
Yeah, but under the supervision of the Department of Hygiene and Sanitation, we are going to come to that. Yes.
Yeah, that's part of their responsibility. Do you know their responsibility also is to clear the street for deranged people? Mentally deranged people is their responsibility. In advanced counties, you don't see madmen walking the streets. That's the work of a municipal police. And part of their description, job description, is that they are supposed to make sure that all the mad people in the state of Douala are cleared and taken to detention camps. And you see, they will have madmen all over the streets of Douala. These guys don't focus there. And if you look, they have a huge role of responsibilities given to them, but they have sidelined most everything, and they are focusing particularly in those areas that will generate them income. Now, the area of clearing traffic, they said their responsibility is to regulate the parking of vehicles on public roads. Mr. Liu, that is a clear statement aligned in that constitution. Regulate the parking of vehicles on public roads. That is to say, if you see somebody has not parked the regular way, your responsibility is to regulate the person, not to fine the person, not to collect money from the person, not to harass and intimidate. Sometimes they will tell you 50,000, you give 40, 25, they will tell you they will not collect it. They create some receipts that have no foundation and put some stamps on it to intimidate you. And because of that, vulnerable persons will go there, sit for sometimes 2 days. A mayor will send municipal police into the street instead of going to regulate the parking of vehicles. Regulate, Mr. Liu, that word regulate in English language means put in order what is not in order. Not finding somebody who has made a mistake. Regulate the parking of vehicles on public roads. Ease traffic in intersections. Somebody should go and read the law of 2019/024 December 2019. You will understand the description of the municipal police. Tell me each of those sentences clearly spelled out if these guys have been assigned by any means possible to collect a dime from somebody at the roadside. Now, one of the parts says they also have to help the easing of traffic in intersections, in quays, and in other parts of the city with the help of law enforcement officer. Now, not the help, you see, the supervision of law enforcement officer. What this means, the police people themselves, who are officially police people, their responsibility is to make sure they guide these boys in doing the right thing. But unfortunately, the police people have gone also, they are dancing the same buyer. Because these guys did not have so much respect when they were going out only themselves. Now, when they go with police officers, when they enter there, when you see a police officer, you get intimidated already. The police officers have also gone there and joined them by, and they are dancing, all of them. The police officer's responsibility is to make sure they supervise these boys as people who have gone to a police academy and they have been trained to understand how to control public security. Because public security is police, it's not army, it's not gendarme. So since these guys are called police, the official police officers or law officers are asked to accompany these guys to the field, maybe to educate them, supervise them, and guide them to do the right thing. But you see, it's rather unfortunate that the teacher has gone and joined the student to fail the exam.
Yes, but when you see they are not so friendly with the population because they know that after the mandate of the person who employed them, they may go home.
Oh, yes.
Yes, but is that not an extra motivation to making you to work better? Because after the mandate of this mayor, you're going back to live with the same persons that you may not have treated them well.
Well, that is true, Mr. Liu. They may want to go and live back. The truth is, people will tell you that when they are at work, they are under command. We have ways of justifying things now. Mon frère, tu me vois comme ça, j'étais sous l'autorité de mon boss, je ne pouvais pas faire autre chose. They come back to the quartier and live with you, and they give you silly reasons why they reacted the way they reacted. And to some extent, you can't blame them because why? They are under strict instructions. They go to the streets with the command given to them in the office. Do you think that those guys are not given orientation before going to the field? Do you think that they are not kept gathered somewhere instructed on what to do? Do you think that they are not guided? They go there and obey exactly what the master has given to them. We live in a desperate society. Everybody is struggling to secure the office that has been given to him. What if you go there and play and they sack you? Somebody will not want to trade his daily bread because he wants to satisfy his neighbor. He rather prefers to obey his boss that gives him something to eat per day than to satisfy a neighbor. That's how delicate the thing is. So I don't think they will be able to trade their relationship with the person that gives them daily bread to somebody who lives in the neighborhood. They will come back home and live in the quartier and tell you that, my brother, if you are the one given the opportunity to serve under those men, you will understand that as a police officer, you don't have a choice. You are supposed to submit to the command and the instructions of your boss. So they will come back and live with us. And you can't kill them because they frustrated you when they were in office.
The police, there is law and order in our communities. Do we see them actually implementing law and order across the streets of our municipalities? Paddy Asanga.
Mr. Leo, I don't have a leaf in front of my mouth, and I will be very, very frank and blunt here. When you get to metropolitans and cosmopolitan cities like Douala and Yaoundé, they don't care. It is all about money making and how long they are going to make that money before they are sacked or before they are unelected. And when you get to semi-urban areas like Kribi, Boya, Bamenda, the story is a different thing because you don't have that demography that is so poised to pay money because they are in a hurry, because you are trapped in Bonaberry and you want to go to Yassa, and you have to run to the bank to go and withdraw money and so on and so forth. And also, there is also a culture of resistance and telling the people the truth. Everything in Yaoundé and Douala is about paying money and getting your way through. We should be frank and blunt about that. So when you look at it from that premise, the answer of your question is in your question. So I am listening to you, Mr. Leo, because I will not want to answer your question for yourself, but the answer of your question is in your question.
Let's assume that these guys are there to add to what the police officers that are actually created to law. Going by the growing numbers of our population, activities here and there, our towns more secured, better organized, more clean because of this addition that is coming from the creation of the municipal police. Because before the president thought of creating this, I'm sure it is because of an observation that there was a deficiency in the existing police force to maintain law and order. I'll take the case of the markets and the streets. You cannot station police officers almost everywhere.
Of course, you can't station police. That's why the description of the council police is to keep the streets clean. One of their job description. Now, going by that job description, let's walk the streets of Douala. Let's walk the streets of Yaoundé. There are places that will tell you that Haisakam is no longer working. So that's the reason why there's so much dead here. Haisakam is not part of the municipal council police, which means in the absence of the municipal council police, in the absence of the Haisakam, probably it's a contract company working with the government, and probably they have not been paid. We're not supposed to say experience death in the streets. But in the presence of Haisakam, in the presence of municipal council police, we still have death littered everywhere. There are some particular junctions in the city of Douala. You go there, you see heap of death. These same guys who carry vehicles from people whom they think they are not properly packed, and they will ask you to pay 50,000. They ride their vehicles on top of that bunch of death to go and lock it where they're supposed to lock for you to pay that money. I'm asking, if at all the death they see in the streets is not part of their job description, they are also there to help the council bodies to collect revenue. That is to say, they are like the law enforcement officer that help the revenue of the council to collect their money. Now, they are not there to collect money. They help. For instance, if the police people, the tax officers come to your place, you refuse to pay your tax, they will seal the place, and the police people will come there and hijack it. The police people don't collect tax. They only help the tax revenue officers to carry out their job. The description of this council police also is to help the council revenue officers to collect their revenue from the respective bodies in place. You and I are walking the streets of Douala. All these things I have mentioned, is the Douala clean? Is the city of Douala clean? Specific places are clean. Other places you walk there, you see bunch of heaps piled of death, bunch of death piled. You see death everywhere. You go to some places, traffic is constant. As you are driving in your car, knowing fully well in your mind that once you are reaching here, you have at least 30 minutes to 40 minutes to be there. You go and meet the official and police officers doing work there, but you don't see the council officers helping them carrying out that job. The only place I have seen where the council works with the police is when they are trying to catch vehicles and collect money from them. They will stop you in the street and make sure that you collect. And then there is another group that goes with overall on their body. They say they are from the transport office. The council is doing the same work that the transport office is doing. I'm asking if at all we don't have other responsibilities in this nation where they will carry two huge group of persons and put in one small job in the street of stopping vehicles, because that particular part of the job is juicy. It's juicy, so everybody goes there. Our streets are dirty, our streets are in traffic, there are buildings at the roadside. The council also helps to fight against buildings that are not having building permit. The people are constructing everything in the state of Douala without any building permit. That's not their focus. Their focus is the road. As you ply the streets of Douala, you are in trouble in the hands of these guys. The traffic that they were destined to stop, they have come and increased the traffic in a way that we cannot even contain anymore.
Okay. I'll take a few of the messages from our televiewers, and then we'll ride on with the program this evening. Excuse me. Our televiewer says, good evening to everyone. I'm Savage Official writing from Yaoundé. this issue of municipal police is getting serious here in Yaoundé, and it causes a lot of traffic every morning. Good evening, Mr. Leo and Apostle Ambe. Is true with what Paddy says. They are always from the family or the village from the mayor. T. Patrick in Boya. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Why are they called police in the first place? Why is Cameroon always confused about everything? Kwan Jacob, writing from Kumbu. Good evening, sir, and all the intelligent panelists in the house. Truth be told, Mr. Liu, those guys are horrible. They truly don't know their job description, and so they embarrass car owners daily just to get funds for their families. Is such a pity. Dodo is writing from Bonaberry. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. The municipal police is becoming an issue in the society. The earlier they remove them, it will be better. They once started crossing students the highway and suddenly stopped on the motion that they are not having income from the activity. They harass drivers moving with iron ready to burst even the tires in case the driver doesn't stop. They steal shops for business persons who do not have global taxes. They ask bike riders to pay council pattern, okay, in collaboration with President of the Union. They have turned this thing into as another branch of law. Okay, good evening, Mr. Kum. This issue is a call for concern. What about the case where they come out with state police officers? Mr. Alang, writing from Bonaberry. Good evening, Mr. Leo and Apostle Ambe. Please, some of these guys in Limbe carry real guns, and I don't know why the government is allowing that. Edmond, writing from Limbe. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I think the problems comes from their names. The word police is what gives them the powers. That word police should be removed from their names. They should be given a different name. Good evening to you in the studio. All what Apostle Ambe is saying is right, but we cannot apply it to succeed because in Cameroon, law does not work when someone claims to have powers more than you. Gerard is writing from Yaoundé. These fellows called municipal police along the Bonaberry Rompoint Street in Douala are more than Talibans. All banga smokers. I have been a victim to them a number of times. Last time they collected 50,000 from me for merely stopping by the roadside for a friend to go out of the car. Miracle is writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Liu and panelists. The situation of municipal police in Yaoundé is worse. I am a technician in building and construction owning a bike. I have made the documents from the council as they demanded by the council, but I can't move from one council area to another. I'm only limited to the area of the council I obtained my card. If I calculate all I have spent to this day, it amounts to 80,000 francs, okay? Mr. Liu, municipal police are council authorized bandits with the know of many of power. Okay, I don't know what you mean. Municipal police are following the tracks of regular police who too are collecting money for the masses. Now, Paddy Asanga, almost everybody is complaining about these guys, and somebody is suggesting that it has to do with the name police. Should something be done with that name? Our MPs, are they unaware, our senators, are they unaware of what the population is living from the hands of these guys? Do you think, like some persons, that name police should be taken out and a different, or the name rebranded?
Mr. Leo, Cameroon is one of the countries in the world with all the best laws on paper. But in the application of the laws, nothing. It is zero. It is zero. And whether you take the name police or not, I don't think, that is my personal conviction, that is going to change something. But what I'm suggesting is that a legislation should be put in place so that these guys are not dependent on whosoever employed them. Because what usually happens is that when a new mayor, when a new legislative council or a new municipal administration comes in, the tendency is that people recruit their friends, and they collaborate with corrupt police officers, and then you have the scenario that you just described. But in a situation where they have limited contract which supersedes the mandate of that person who recruits them, they owe no allegiance to that person. They are contractual officers of the state, because the municipalities are auxiliary of the state. They are not compelled, but they are compelled to the deontology and the contract that bind them with their municipalities. That's how you separate these malpractices from power grip and control. Because when you look at the situation from a holistic perspective, you understand that these guys, some of them, illiterate as they are, family members, they said, okay, I've put you in a place where there is a lot of money. Every day you can bring in 50,000, you can bring in 250,000, and you keep 50% for yourself, and I need 50%. What do you think that guy is going to do on the street? But if that guy knows that he has been recruited on merit as a contractual officer of that municipality, and after some kind of a vetting concours, he owes allegiance to nobody. And no matter what you will tell him, he wants to protect his job, and with the idea that his contract can be renewed by the incoming mayors. So these people should have a particular, a well-described contract in their municipality that supersedes the contract, that supersedes the mandate of the acting mayor or the acting elected officials of the municipality, because that's where the embryo comes in when you look at it from a holistic perspective. So I sincerely think that the legislation should be rethink or should be rethought and debated upon, and make sure that those it is very important. Let me not say that it's not important. It is very important to have these people we call municipal police, because they are going to decongest the role of the regular police, and this police, they will be free to go in where they are burning spots, where there's a lot of criminality and all that stuff. So in a civil society where people are uncivil and they just go around violating laws, they have their role regulating traffic, going into the market and making sure that people get fined when they sell and they don't clean out their counters and all that stuff. That is supposed to be their role. But on the other hand, I seriously think that the legislator, which is the parliament, should think about how to dissociate the municipal police, as we call it, quote unquote, from those who employ them. Their mandate should supersede those who gave them that job, and we will get to somewhere, and that's my point of view. I don't know if Pastor Ambe thinks differently, or you yourself.
Yes, Stephen Mwambo from Boya says the first question is who trains municipal policemen? If we find all the lapses that we see with regular police and gendarme officers who are trained, why will we not see far more lapses in the municipal police consisting of people who are picked from any angle without any education whatsoever? Moreover, I think the Ministry of Urban Development should just be closed up, because the ministry hardly does its job, thereby complicating the job of the councils and, of course, the municipal police. Is that not where the problem actually comes from? Because these guys, I don't know whether there is a school where they are trained. You just need to support somebody at the time is looking forward to becoming mayor, and once he gets the office, you are given uniforms, maybe you may go for some, but there is no school that trains these guys.
No, there is no official school that trains the municipal police. Two things I want to emphasize here. The training, which is very essential. Like what Stephen said, is very important. If our regular police officers who have gone to the schools, training academy, military academy, and being trained, not just physically, but also mentally, because they attend classes, they are being taught the law. Sometimes they have lapses. What about these guys who will just speak in the streets? Once a mayor comes into office, he selects a family member and makes him the head, and the family member selects a friend, another friend, somebody also who is probably smoking Indian hemp and taking Thai and cocaine, and then they put uniform on his body. He gets power drunk. Because sometimes there are persons you will never know who they are until you give them the opportunity to exercise a little power. If you see how these guys behave on the roads, you would think that they are colonels that have been given, I mean, some authority from a military academy. You see somebody who is just introduced to little power, the way they exercise the power, you talk to them, they make as if they don't even know you. First and foremost, most of them, the way they react, they behave as if you are of no significance. You ask somebody that, are you a foreigner in your own country that is treating you like this? He behaves a monami, he talks nonsense to everybody and they go away. Tell you that one, they are power drunk. Number two, they have not been trained also to manage power. Number three, their attitude towards even the poor they approach is very, very poor. If they are rendering services to citizens of the country and a thing goes wrong, it is their responsibility as an educated person to call the person to order. If teachers were treating students the way some of these police treat drivers on the roadside, I don't think we'll have a society tomorrow. Because the way these guys behave, they don't even have any manner of approach. They will just stop you and say, hey, two parties, they ga. You see people who have just tested a little portion of power and they are crazy. And I think they have to devise a means on how to educate these people and be able to ascertain who is qualified to be a council police and who can manage public security. Because in public security, you are dealing with all categories of people. You are dealing with learning people, you are dealing with exposed individuals, you are letting people understand the law. You just get your wild attitude without even understanding what you are working and don't understand your job description, you get into problem. Some of them are entering into problem because they are following the hands of authorities that will not take the nonsense from them. Now, the problem is the mayors who are sending these guys out should look into giving them some kind of training to understand how they are supposed to operate in the city. And I think what Paddy said is very important. These guys who are just brought in to work within the mandate of a particular mayor is dangerous. I think they have to redefine the employment and the training possibilities of these individuals who are going to work at public security. Because if somebody knows that the mayor is not going to sack him, he's based there on the training and what he has gone through to be qualified to work in that office. When people are being trained to a field, the number reduces. Because not everyone qualifies for the training. Sometimes health-wise, medically, they are not qualified. Academically, they are not qualified. Sometimes report, whether you are an ex-convict, you are not qualified. But now this one has no qualification. They can pick an ex-convict. They can pick some Indian hemp consumer. They have to be able to test all these things before they qualify to work in public security. Because people need security, they don't need vandals. An ex-convict is a danger to public security. An Indian hemp consumer, a cocaine cracker, is a danger to public security. So how do you gather these guys? What are the parameters? What are the criteria that they use to qualify somebody who is giving security? How can you recruit a terror to give security to the public? Is it possible that somebody who is a terrorist is being recruited as a public security? These are the things that are supposed to be checked. Check whether you're a drug consumer. If you're a drug consumer, you're a terror to the society. If you're an ex-convict, you're a terror to the society. Those are some of the things you have to understand. If you are an armed robber, former armed robber, you are a terror to the society. Because these are the things you have to put into place before you qualify somebody. But this one, we don't know. Most of the guys who are police officers, council police officers, they had no training, they had no tests, they had no criteria for qualification. So somebody who is an ex-convict is selected as a police, municipal security. How can an ex-convict come to bring security? We know ex-convict as terrorists. How can somebody, a terrorist, how can somebody who is an Indian hemp consumer, a cocaine cracker, be given for security in the public? The security forces are instead looking for such men, yet we recruit them to secure us. How is that possible? So I think the training is very important, and also the limitation of their offices, their tenure in office also is punctured because they are on a mad rush.
Okay.
They want to get things fast.
They want to get things faster. So many messages are coming in. Let me take a few of them. Good evening, Edwin from Yaoundé. I think this thing of municipal police is a copy work from France. Let the Cameroon government have a rethink. Good evening, Mr. Liu. The issue of council police is really a problem in Yaoundé. The people cost the life of a bike rider in Yaoundé because of 500 francs. Right in front of me. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Engelbert from Yaoundé. This concept of council police is really problematic, especially the Yaoundé 4 Council. They just cuffed my bike today, and I had to pay 6,000 francs after I've registered. Like, seriously, it is becoming an issue because last 2 months a rider was crushed by a trailer because he was being ambushed by a council police. Please, it should be a call for concern. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying the program from Bamenda, where this municipal police act exactly like thieves. They watch you parking even where there is no sign indication, no parking. As you turn, they just chain your car and you call before they come. Ngasa writing there, they mark demolish on buildings and finally no demolition after collecting money. Please, Mr. Liu, also add the so-called road safety guys who claim to control our highways, especially those at Bikoko, Bonasama, and Kongsamba. They are a serious threat to drivers as they extort huge sums of money. Luis is writing from Boya. They are not even under any control by the council. I see guys who seem to be living under the bridge, acting in commercial avenue. This is not fair. Now, Paddy Asanga, we have MPs in this country, we have senators in this country, we have administrative authorities. Are they not aware of what all these guys are writing today?
Mr. Leo, I will be very blunt and I will stay blunt. You know, when you talk about senators and all that stuff, who is the electoral college of senators? Leo, they are municipal councillors and mayors. So why do you think that they will change law that disfavor people who put them where they are supposed to be? Why do you think so? Leo, let's be frank. This is interwoven politics. And you want to understand that some of us who have been saying and clamoring that the Senate is obsolete and it should be scrapped, this topic for today comes to give us reason, saying that senators don't have their role because when these laws go to their desk, what do? They sign it as a letter that is thrown into the post box because they know that their mandate depends on mayors, municipal councillors, and all the likes. This is where we are talking about interwoven politics. So when you are asking somebody like myself such a question, I think you are just doing your role of a journalist to let me run my basketball. And I've said it all. I have nothing more to say. Senators who are elected, who are put there, CPDM senators, who owe allegiance to their electoral college, who are mayors, municipal councillors, and all the likes, they will do nothing. Some few parliamentarians, we know they have the best majority in parliament. They would cry, they would sing, they would dance in the parliament. But, you know, he who pays the piper determines the tune. And these senators, they owe allegiance to the mayors, municipal councillors, and all the likes. And that is why some of these laws go to the Senate despite all the contestations in the parliament without any amendments. And then we have them there. You have thugs on our streets and so on and so forth. But the flip side of the coin is this. The flip side of the coin is this. Sovereignty lies in the hands of the people. Every single Cameroonian should be able to resist this municipal police who are very abusive. And if 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 back riders who are in conformity don't pay, taxi drivers, bus drivers, truck drivers don't succumb to their whims and caprices, it's going to implode in the city. It is because a few corrupt minds, weak minds, go ahead because they are in a hurry. They are not ready to sacrifice, give these people money, and then the whole thing goes like a bandwagon effect. But if 1, 2, 3, they stand and block the traffic, and then you have traffic jam from Bonasama right up to Aqua now, then you start asking questions, and that's where the resistance begin. And I'm an advocate for that, and that's why I am a militant of the Social Democratic Front and a militant of the International Socialist Movement. I'm listening to you, Mr. Leo.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm very angry because these guys, council guys who call themselves council police are biting more than they can chew. They don't even know the rule of law. They take the powers into their hands every time. But I'm happy because sometimes as they act ultra-virus, they meet wrong people and they get themselves into real trouble. Like what happened when they wrongly locked up the tire of a top government official private car in Bonaberi, Douala. You can't drive and make calls. You park to make a call. These illiterates who don't know anything about the highway code come and lock up the car while you are in the steering wheel. Try this, guys. Good evening to you, Mr. Kum and Prophet Ambe and others. Mr. Kum, as a municipal agent in Bamenda, I do not agree with the Prophet and many writers. A good number of them do not know the functions of the municipal police, and a good number of Cameroonians, for example, like drivers or vehicles, do not know anything about the driving code or deliberately do not respect them. George is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Raymond writing from Limbe. Apostle Ambe is municipal police. Is an organized team in Limbe. They don't ask even the documents. They collect their 1,000 francs per tax. Wow. No, but I think they're also working. Again, somebody wants to park somewhere, and you tell that where you want to park is not acceptable, and he ignores you. Some will say, I will take just a minute and take more than 30 minutes in the shoes of the municipal police. What will you do? It's true. Good evening to all in the studio. If Papa, Daddy, and Daddy Ambe are talking, how everybody have to behave when embarrassed by municipal police. Please, they should also understand that not everybody have that grounds and finance to carry issues forward and being favored. As I'm talking now, my bike is in the council. And I don't know how I will get it back. Wow, very sad situation. So many persons are writing that their bikes have been impounded, but also some people are not respecting the law. They want to take the law into their hands, and they make things very difficult for some of our brothers who find themselves working as municipal police, because whether we like it or not, they are also helping in one way or the other.
Yes, Mr. Leo, I wouldn't have concluded this part of the debate today without acknowledging what they do, because I must speak on both angles. The truth is, the municipal police, first and foremost, is a very great initiative. President Pobia thought very well bringing them into place. This is a great initiative. But you see, a very good thing can be abused by a group of persons. Now, there are also persons who are very responsible when it comes to the municipal police. Not everybody. For those of you who are watching us, we are talking about the rule, not the exception. There are many well-behaved civil Cameroonians who are also municipal police who respect themselves. They will treat you very well. One of the things I want to acknowledge is that of late, there's too much traffic that used to be around Bikoko, because of the discipline of the municipal police, it has dropped.
Yes.
I used to drive from Southwest coming back. You will see vehicles running out of the main lane.
5 lanes. They create 5 lanes.
They create 5 lanes. The municipal police has brought order in that area. We cannot speak here as if we are coming to condemn. No, we are coming to sanitize or sensitize the public to make them understand the role of the municipal police, the errors, and also their positive points. This one should sink into your head. We are not here to condemn or fight people. The municipal police also play a very pivotal role in that. I have watched it clearly. You have had some reduction in traffic congestion from Carrefour Music right down to Bikoko, right down to Rai, because of the municipal police. Those people who create those extra lanes, they run out of the main lane, they are arrested, their vehicles are arrested. So the fear of the municipal police has now caused people to follow the main lane. And because the main lane is followed, it's easier. But when those vehicles create extra lane like that, they go and choke and choke and choke. Then there is some kind of a hold up that this one cannot do, that cannot. The municipal police has also helped to control traffic to some extent in that area, which I told my wife when they were coming out, I said, these people are really doing a very good work. I really appreciate what they are doing for now. As much as we are not just here to condemn them, we are also here to also appreciate the good work they have been doing. So nobody should think that we are like totally against the municipal police. No, we are pointing out what they are doing which is not correct, and we are also pointing out what they are doing also which is correct. The other aspect I've also realized the municipal police that has also helped our society is that they have also helped the circulation of most vehicles who are, how do I put it, who ply our roads illegally. You know, the government makes money through taxes. Insurance is a means through which government makes money. Visit technique vignette also. This pressure they have mounted on people has caused many people also to pay their dues. Because when poor ply the roads for one complete year, they don't get these documents in their hands. And by so doing, it helps, it reduces the income of the state and also punctures the stability and the smoothing of the state. So they have also helped in contributing in generating income, because most people now buy vignette, buy visitor, because you may run away from the highway, you will still meet them inside the city. You know, in those days we used to expect control only around the highway. When you are going either to Ewane, you are going to South. Now inside, you are crossing wrong point here, police people will arrest you. Municipal police, they are behind you. You are at Bonasama, they are behind you. You come to Bonamusa, they are behind you. You go to Bonaprizo, they are behind you. So you realize that even circulation within the town, your vehicle is not safe. That also help also in pushing income in the government coffers as far as their contribution is concerned. But you see, if we put on a balance, they have gone astray from their job description so much that it is even trying to cover the little good things they are contributing to society.
Okay. Now, what are some of the positive points you want to make our audience know about the existence of municipal police elements across our municipalities in Cameroon? Paddy Asanga.
Yes, Mr. Leo, I'm a fervent critic of the Jacobini system of Mr. Bia. But, you know, as I keep saying, we have very good laws, but the applications of those laws leave us with a lot of questions. You see, in the elements of security, every municipality, you have what you call, we call it here, one vest. Those vests that the bike riders put on with numbers, and those numbers correspond to particular municipalities. And those are advancements, those are takeaways that we should be able to acknowledge, because and if somebody takes you or you are accompanying somebody on a bike, take the number of that person who is riding the bike, the number that is written on his vest. And with that number, you would be able to know who was driving. Even if that vest was stolen by a bandit, it would permit an investigation to go to the person who carried or who drove your person, or who pretended to drive your person to his or her destinations. So that it is very important for us to know that, and that is the role of the municipality, to identify everybody who's a commercial bike rider or a taxi driver. you know, in a situation of insecurity, like the one we have in the Northwest, like the one we have in Douala, Yaoundé, Boya, and other cities, we should be able to get the minimum. We tend to neglect those numbers that are posted on or that are printed on taxis or that are printed on the vests of these bike riders and so on and so forth. But they are very, very important and they are life-saving. And that is some of the things that you people as journalists should be doing, telling our people that make sure that when you are riding on a bike, send the number of that bike rider to somebody so that by the principle of somebody knows somebody, if something happens to you, that person will be able to be tracked. And that is the positive point, and that is the philosophy about this municipal police and all the control that you have. You want to understand that every municipality, Douala 1, Bamenda 2, Boya 3, Limbe 4, and so on and so forth, they have identified their bike riders, those who have legally registered. And I will not advise anybody to go on a bike that has no number, that cannot be identified by this yellow, blue, green, or whatsoever t-shirt or without a number. And when you are getting on that bike, just call somebody or you take that number. If something happens to you and you survive, you take that number and you send it to somebody. That is also the role, that is the security role that the police cannot play, because Cameroon is not yet a police state. If tomorrow we want to govern, we happen and we have the chance to govern, I would transform Cameroon into a police state where every citizen is a police and every citizen is an informant, because that's what has guaranteed security here in Germany, and people can come here in Germany and live freely without building huge fences because of security reasons, because your neighbor protects you, and the citizens are well educated. And that's why I'm saying that these municipal police, they have their role, but they have to vet it and then have a very clear contract that is independent of the municipality, but dependent on their competence and their understanding of their what you call their job description, what they say in French, cahier de charge. Leo, I'm listening to you and Pastor Ambe.
Okay, thank you very much, Paddy Asanga. This one reads, good evening, Mr. Leo, and to everyone in the studio. I'm Vicky in Kumba. I really love the program. Just to add to what the municipal police are doing in Kumba, until the people of Kumba now call them as Isakaba boys. The boys, them no easy. Them they worry, now worry. This one says they are doing a good job in Bonaberry, one rank, but talk about the sanctions they apply is too heavy. This is Koni from Douala, Bonaberry. Thank you, Mr. Leo. Mr. Leo, the council police always hire a police officer to move with them privately to jeep civilians. I pretended to be a commissioner in Ancien Route Bonaberry, and some policemen bowed and apologized. They were hired by council police to extort money from those who parked wrongly along the road. Gideon is writing from Mamenda. Yes, sir, let's talk about the sanctions. What they actually ask as penalty for defaulting, either by way of just wrongly parking without knowing. There's many strangers who come to town. But these guys are really very intolerant. Eh?
No, very intolerant, Mr. Law. First and foremost, the law says that if you are still sitting on your steering, they have no right to charge you. That means you are on a move to take off. But these guys will meet you sitting on the steering. Once you do not know, they will put that sabot. Let me call it sabot. That's what they call it. They will put that sabot on your tire and they will ask you to pay the sum of 50,000 francs. They will tell you that you are going to pay in Bonanjo. That's the first thing. First of all, use some very frightful statements to intimidate you, if at all, and then the way they even talk to you, no sign of respect. I don't think police officers who were sent to bring peace in the society is also they were instead sent to bring disruption. That lack of respect for people is not a sign of peace. Public security officers are people who are very cordial, people who know how to relate to the public, people who know how to respect citizens, and people know how to exercise the right of citizens in any society. Those are things they are taught in school before they come. You don't come and begin to harass people because I've given you a little uniform or a t-shirt to wear. The way they talk to people, first and foremost, is very poor. Their approach, they are harsh, they are rude to people. Number two, I don't know where they got that law that you have to pay 50,000 first, because I'm yet to find out in that particular constitution where 50,000 was a levy for not parking rightly. Number three, their responsibility is to regulate people to park properly, not to collect money from them. Worst of all is that they will just carry your car sometimes without even knowing where you are.
Yes.
Somebody will come and begin to look for his car, doesn't know where the car is.
My car was carried. I came out and I did not see it. I had to go tracing till
Yes.
I discovered in what they call, is it a
Fourier?
Fourier, yes.
Fourier, yes. Now, how do you traumatize some individual who parks his car? You may be afraid that his armed robbers have taken away your car, only to come back, you don't see your car. Your car. Trauma is also there. So you look at the kind of harsh treatment they give to fellow citizens in a particular country that is their own country. It doesn't all go well. Now, this tells us that you are like a stranger in your own fatherland. They carry your car. Somebody will start going about asking, where's my car? Before you go and find where they are parked, when you go there, the way they will talk to you, insult you, and ask you to pay money. Sometimes people even plead that I did not know. I didn't come up preparing like this. Please have even this 20,000. Say zero. C'est 50,000 net. Si tu ne peux pas passer toi. They keep your car there. As if they who are carrying those cars have bikes that they own.
Okay, let us move to our second topic for tonight, which has to do with urbanization in Cameroon. What visible role do municipal authorities play in shaping the face of our respective cities? Paddy Asanga, you have been to Cameroon almost every year. You have seen the shape of Douala. You were here in Douala, and you went to Yaoundé and Bamenda and a host of others. Year in, mandate in, mandate out, we find mayors who come in and out. Do you see the mayors effectively working to changing the face of our respective cities in the past 20, 30 years?
Leo, I like this topic, and I am very, very pleased that you asked somebody like myself this question. Urbanization should not depend on people who have elective mandate. Urbanization should be a policy that depends on the continuity of the administration. It should not depend on mayors and those people who are elected. No, it should never be that. And that is where the problem is, because if you let urbanization depend on somebody who has a limited mandate, the other person will come and twist the project of the person, of his predecessor, in order to favor him. Remember that we are a young democracy that is only 50 years old in comparison to urbanizations of democracy that are 500 years old. So we should learn from these things and stop fooling ourselves. The urbanization projects for countries like ours, Cameroon, should not depend on mayors, people who are elected for a limited terms, but it should depend on experts who can project for the next 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, and make sure that in conglomerate with very strong agglomeration and the tendency of mass migration towards those communities, buildings, roads, and infrastructures should be able to stand the test of time for the next 100 years. That is what is happening here. You would never have the concession in Germany, in Hamburg in particular, to build a building that the person who wins that contract will not give you a guarantee for the next 100 years. It's not possible. So urbanization should not depend on the whims or caprices of politicians, but on technicians, people who understand the soil, people who have expertise in building and making sure that in the next 100 years, in the next 50 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 3 years, this road will stand the test of time, depending on the number of vehicles and the weight of the vehicles that are plowing this road. That is how urbanization is supposed to be done. Urbanization is not a political tool, but it's a technical studies, and it is done based on the feasibility of what the demography, the topography, and everything that is involved in that. Leo, I would have made my point, and I'm listening to you and my humble friend, Pastor Ambe.
Okay, now Apostle Ambe, Valentine Ngwa, town planning and building of structures all over, you see the mayors, because they are the ones in charge, the issue, the building permits now. Let's take the case of Douala. Do you see the mayors actually having a clear plan on how they intend the town to look like in the next 20, 30 years? And severally, we see mayors presenting a plan on how they want this city to look like, and once they're voted out of office, like Paddy just said, another mayor is coming to implement. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Leo, urbanization in the first place is not an individual's responsibility, because it is the increase in the proportion of people moving into a city or a town. And most of the time, these things are caused by industrialization, commercialization, increase in employment, and rural migration. When these things occur, it is but certain that, as Paddy said, there's supposed to be a team that will have a ministry of urban development. And I don't think the Ministry of Urban Development has any connections to the Ministry of Decentralization. They have no link. They're supposed to look for technicians. Look, for instance, what is happening. I want to give analysis out of Cameroon. Lagos was estimated to increase population of at least 20 million in the next 10 years. When they saw that, it became more of a commercial city than an administrative capital. That was when now they projected the idea of creating another capital for Abuja, because Lagos was too congested, too advanced, too populated, too infrastructured to have as a capital and administrative capital of a nation. I think that's exactly what we should look about Yaoundé right now. Yaoundé, equally in Cameroon, has grown beyond the administrative capital of this country, because a lot of urbanization is taking place and a lot of industrialization, employment increasing, as well as commercialization. If I thought there is a team working on that, we're not going to wait for a mayor to come and say for 5 years, because those are things that are predicted 20 years. What's the mandate of a mayor in Cameroon? It's 5 years. And then we are thinking of Lagos growing to 20 million in the next 10 years. How many brains would think that? It will not think. So what Paddy is saying is very important. They estimated that Lagos will grow by 20 million population. So they shifted the capital. Now you go to Tanzania, to Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam was the capital. Capital was growing until the urbanization department looked at the issue and said, in the next 10 years, Dar es Salaam will not be able to sit as a administrative capital. They shifted it to Dodoma. As I'm talking to you right now, agents of urbanization are dealing with Dakar. Very soon they will stop Dakar being the capital of Senegal. Hear it from my mouth. Why? Because the guys have the capacity to project the next 20, 30 years. If at all we are putting mayors to be in charge of the urbanization of a country, that they give building permit, should not be the one doing the plans of building in cities. Now, you look at it critically.
Are they not supposed to check the pattern, the building patterns? Are they not supposed to check the fact that this building meets
the condition of that particular location?
Yes. What is wrong for a mayor to design a pattern for a particular quarter in a city?
This is now, you are talking about the mayor's responsibility within those 5 years.
Yes.
Within those 5 years.
Yes, but what is wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. When Jacques Chirac became mayor of Paris, that is what he did in most of the places. He carved out the plan of construction in the city. Now, a mayor that comes into office, he doesn't draft the plan of a whole city. He can decide the construction within a particular location. Now, okay, this is Bonaberi 4. around Gwele area, we will need this kind of areas, this kind of buildings here, because we want to make it a government residential area. This area here, we're going to do it because we want to make it a place of the high and the mighty. You can go into some quarters in some countries, you will know that the high and the mighty live here. Now you can also, like what Kagame is doing right now, he's building a city, a village for the underprivileged. The houses you see there are not houses of power of higher grade in the society. Go to Calabar, Ben Ayade, former governor of Calabar, he built for those who were frustrated around the Bakassi Peninsula area, created an atmosphere, a land space there, and built normal bungalows for those who were living in that environment. There was a time, if you're going to Boya, around my 14, there were some particular houses, design of houses. So I think what the mayor should be doing is to create spaces for the ordinary man to build, the middle class, and the upper class, because the society is divided into these three strata of people, these three categories of people. So I think what the mayor is supposed to do is to create space for people to be building. There are particular areas in Douala the mayor can say, if you are not building in this capacity, don't construct here. That's how it is in Europe, in some other countries in America. There are places, if you don't have a particular design and a particular amount of money, you can't build in that area. That's work of a mayor. But to project the demography of a city, to project the building construction, to project the population growth of that city, the commercialization, industrialization, employment rate, and rural development, the royal exodus, it is a particular standby bureau, as Paddy said. We should not rely on those who enter into offices temporarily to handle things that are beyond even their tenure. If somebody has to project 20 years in Douala, 20 years in Yaoundé, then we should start thinking of where the capital and municipal country should be. If they start projecting in 10 years of Douala, we start thinking of creating Douala 2 around Yabasi. Because Douala 1, which is where we are, is already congested. We can create an Douala annex. But that is the responsibility of someone that can sit for the next 5-10 years. And know that people who always come to offices and last very short term do not actually plan for the nation. They mostly plan for their stomach because they have a limited time and they are looking for what they will grasp within that short period of time and they find their way out. So I think what Paddy has submitted here as having a structure that manages urbanization different from these municipal councillors and mayors is different. They can only come to enact what the urbanization structure has put in place, because there are people who catch the vision and there are others who execute the vision. So mayors should be executing what the urbanization office has structured.
Yeah, but Paddy Asanga, now when you are a mayor for a city like Douala or Yaoundé or say Bamenda, and after 10-15 years nothing is changing, what do you present to the people as a balance sheet, or what do you tell the people are some of your realizations? Because there are children that are born who leave Cameroon, go to say Germany or America, or move out of the country to other African nations only to come back to see the cities with the same face like they left. Take the case of Kongsamba, almost nothing is moving at that level. Take the case of Edea, nothing is veritably moving. Are we saying that the mayors themselves do not have the means to cause a change in the way their cities look like?
Mr. Leo, I'm going to shock you and Professor Apostle Ambe in what I'm going to tell you right now. A mayor is not a technocrat. A mayor is a politician. And politicians are there to do what we call follow-up with some amendments. But mayors, they don't have that capacity to think about urbanization. They don't. There are experts in the world who have developed cities, who have designed cities, made researches, and projected those cities, and those cities have emerged from the ground. That's not the job of a mayor. The mayor is there as a politician to provide social amenities and then move with the demographic development, the political demographic development based on the needs and the wants of the growing population. They don't have those capacities. when we are talking about urbanization, these are deeply rooted development that would impact the lives of the citizens in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, and even 100 years, and in the face of earthquakes. So mayors are not habilitated to think in that light. Mayors are habilitated to think how to win the next mandate. They are not habilitated to think how the country will look like.
Yeah, but Paddy,
how the
Paddy, when you talk like that and following the recent decentralization law that actually asked for 15% of the national budget to be handed to these guys, it is for what essence?
Yes, you know, when you are talking about decentralization, but you know, I don't believe in decentralization. I believe in federalism. And when this budget, in federalism, 80% will be allocated to the federal states. And these federal states would employ people, would give that contracts to technicians to do that job. So it is not that hyper-centralized system. And every federated state would have the capacity and the mandate to design its cities for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, and 50 years. That is what we are talking about. So it falls in line with what we have been saying. When you are talking about this hyper-Jacobinist decentralized system where the governor and so on and so forth, you elect a governor, you have a council that with experts that is accredited to think based on the demographic and the topology of your region and your area, how you would want to look like in the next 50 years. That's what we are talking about, Mr. Leo. I'm not inventing the wheel, but I'm talking from experience, and I am a socialist. I have been in this place where I am, that I might not like, but that's where I am collecting my colonial debt.
Yes, but Paddy Asanga, when you say mayors are not do not have the capacity to do some of these things, the central markets that we have around Cameroon are constructed by the mayors. The parks, the motor parks, are also constructed by the mayors, and a host of other things, markets and maybe slaughterhouses. These are all directly under the mayors. Do you find them clean? Do you find where we buy our food and everything orderly? Are they not supposed to look into that? Are you are you comfortable when you move to take a car at Bonaberry, moving down to the southwest region, Obamenda? Are you very comfortable with it? Are you comfortable when you visit some of the markets across the city of Douala?
Leo, that's exactly where we want to gravitate to. You know. When you look at this, all these infrastructures that you have named, that have been based on political calculation and not on demographic development and projections for 50, 60, and 30 years, what do they look like? It boils down to what I'm telling you. These are temporary and precarious infrastructures that are not meant to last, because no experts were involved. Those infrastructures were erected based on political calculations. That's it. So we cannot be fooling ourselves here, Mr. Liu. Let's be honest.
Yes, but
I don't think.
You, irrespective of the fact that you say the mayor is a politician, but I would also want us to understand that the mayor, as a politician, works with technicians. There is a technical department. I'm sure there are engineers working in that department. We have a hygiene and sanitation department that is expected to see experts in that domain work, and a host of others, building and the rest. Are they not supposed to assist this politician who is a mayor in implementing these aspects that are not working to change the face of these cities? We have seen other cities in across the world where the mayors are actively involved in doing implementing some changes. What is wrong in the mayor? We look at the guy who died in Jome Pinja. Paul Erikinge, he was taking some practical steps, following the text that actually gives him power to see some of these things done.
Mr. Liu, mayor is an office. The person that occupies the office is an individual.
Okay.
That's the reason why the operations are not the same. Mayor is an office, and that office is occupied by an individual. An individual's temperament is stronger than the title of an office. You called certain things here, which is something I've watched consistently rotate within the council of Cameroon. Number one, the bee markets. That's because they have to collect tickets from those markets. They build slaughterhouses because they make money out of it. They build motor parks because they collect money out of it. Now, apart from these three things that you see mayors in Cameroon construct, which is a source of income, what are the things they do for urban development? What are the things they do to make sure that the infrastructures in terms of road, hospitals, clinics, dispensaries, schools, in that organization of a city is not the responsibility of mayors, of the decentralization where the mayors belong to. So the Minister of Urban Development is supposed to be the one to tell us that we have projected Yaoundé for the next 15 to 20 years. The population will be too much that we cannot contain the capital of this nation or the administrative capital anymore. Let's start thinking of how to create an administrative capital. I've given instances here. Tanzania, Dar es Salaam has been moved to Dodoma. Dakar, Senegal, we moved to somewhere else. Nigeria, Lagos was moved to Abuja. And the trend goes around. This is not for people who come to occupy 5 years in office, 10 years in office, 4 years in office. This is for people who have the capacity to sit down and be able to project the outcome of the nation for the next 20 to 30 years in terms of demography, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of industrialization, commercialization, employment rate, as well as royal exodus into that community. Look at what has happened recently. If we ever projected that Douala tomorrow will have a kind of overpopulation that the surface area will not be able to contain, because when industrialization, when urbanization takes place, the air becomes polluted, water becomes unavailable, energy becomes limited. Sometimes some communities don't get light. Like now, they ration light in Douala. They will give it to Douala 1 for 2 hours. They send it to Douala 3 for 4 hours. Because why? Urbanization. This tells us that the environment is no longer enough. It has outgrown the energy level. Let's start thinking of how creating new space that can accommodate people and also give them the opportunity of generating energy in that area. This is not how Douala was in the past 30 years. Not now that they will say, okay, in my quarter they will give light from morning to 12. Then you move to the next, say, on a pris la lumière chez vous, bon, c'est nous qui a ça maintenant. That's exactly what happens in Nigeria because of energy shortage. This is the effect of urbanization.
Many persons are suffering because of our failures to plan. Paddy Asanga, we have persons who actually acquire building permits from some of our municipalities, only to be told some years down the line that roads are going to be constructed here because of this growth in population that Apostle Ambe is talking about, and the need why all these mayors are supposed to have a blueprint, clearly defined map of how their cities are supposed to look like in the next 10, 15 years, because if you are unaware of what the city is supposed to look like in the next 10, 15 years, you issue building permits to persons maybe on areas that are earmarked for waterways and a host of others. The mayors themselves are supposed to be part of this. If they are unaware of that and then they issue building permits, and once they're out of office and the population is informed that a road is supposed to be constructed here, what happens? Many persons are rendered homeless.
Mr. Leo, let me be blunt again with you. Projects like that depends, or it doesn't depend on mayors and people who have limited mandate. In every municipality, and even at the level of the federal government that we are projecting and that we hope to have in the Third Republic, we should have a gremium for the urbanization, not political entities that will come and would want to do 1 or 2 amendments. But administration is continuity. Let's be clear on that, Mr. Liu. When you look at that from that perspective, I'll take a very glaring example. Mr. Eiffel, who built the Eiffel Tower that has lasted and is the symbol of Paris today. Do you think that it was because of a political will? No. It is because Paris wanted to have a symbol that would reflect them after Napoleon was gone. And many people propose you have the Cathedral of Notre Dame and so on. Those are proposals that were made by people and was endorsed by a gremium. That's the way we should be thinking, something that will last for posterity and not something that would reflect the political will of somebody and that can be amended or changed by the next person that is coming in place. That's why we have constitutions and then we have amendment based on the will, the development, what has happened, the demography, and the needs and wants of the people at a given moment under a particular pressure which is ponderant. That's how we should be looking at things. We should not be looking at things of a mayor comes, a mayor go, but Eiffel Tower still stands. A mayor comes, a mayor go, but the Mongo Bridge still stands. A president comes and a president goes, but the monument of reunification still stands. So we should not be looking at things from that perspective when it comes to urbanization, but we should be looking at it from a projective point of view, and then we know that in the next 100 years, we should start thinking about renovating the Sanaga Bridge, renovating the Mezam Bridge, renovating the Mongo Bridge, renovating the Dr. Manfe Bridge, renovating the Manu Bridge and all that stuff. Not thinking about who is going to be the next mayor and how many jobs is he going to create and what is he going to give to his family members, friends, and his electorate. No, we should not.
Are you positive with the pace at which the face of our respective towns are being changed?
If I tell you that I am happy, I'm a hypocrite. But if I tell you that there is no development, I am also a liar. But the truth is this: there is some kind of chaotic development and survival of the fittest. He who can do something, who can hurry up and do something, and then stands there and goes to court, drag his preponderance to court, and they bargain, and he who can pay, who left, right, centers, or have connection, becomes the winner. But to say that that is development, there is no town planning, and we have to rethink everything from scratch. And I think that most of the buildings that people that are standing there, they ought not to be there, because we have to project Africa, Cameroon, and many other countries in the next 50, 30 years will have a demography that is unimaginable. Scientists cannot even project. So all what people are hurriedly doing, it doesn't make sense. We have to rethink urbanization and rethink what we want for our future generation in the next 50 years. Mr. Liu, I'm listening to you. People.
Apostle Ambe, you time to rethink our urbanization process all through, and how do we get the mayors themselves more empowered in doing what is expected of them? Because it is true, we're talking about a situation where it is urban development that decides in Yaoundé, but these are persons who are living in the communities, and the persons are the members of that municipality are electing them to effect a change. They understand better how they want their city to look like, maybe based on some sociocultural, demographics, and a host of other historical backgrounds. But how do we get them effectively drive the faces of their respective cities?
You know, in every nation, there's construction and reconstruction. The construction phase sometimes in most nations is unplanned.
Okay.
Most of our cities and our towns in Cameroon, they were not planned. Since they were virgin environment that started growing under colonial watch, people started building haphazardly, and most of the cities were not planned. If you look at the new layouts that are given by the government in most communities, you realize that there's a carved out plan. For instance, I don't think there is a place as planned as Bonaveri in Douala, because that's one of the last quarters that the government gave. And because of the way that the land was given late, the plan was properly carved out. The streets are clearly spread out. But if you enter in places like Daido, you enter in places like Bali, some places like Bonamusadi, some places you will discover that some places are completely unplanned, because those are ancient quarters in Douala that started building without any plan of action. So there's supposed to be a reconstruction. Reconstruction is not going to be a matter of the war in the northwest that we are going to reconstruct the broken down buildings. There are some places in the cities of Yaoundé, Douala, Bafoussam that people build haphazardly because there was no plan in place. They have to do a total reconstruction of some of those places if we have to give our cities a facelift the way it's supposed to be. So I think that we have to talk about reconstruction at the level of the entire nation. So mayors should be empowered, one, to be able to decide the kind of structures that particular environments carry. A mayor has the right to tell you, if you don't have the sum of 50 million francs, you can't construct it, because we need only duplex in this area. We need bungalows in this area. We need just a chain of apartments in this area. We need flats in this area. With that kind of organized planning, you will realize that will give the city a facelift, because once you are entering, you see some kind of, how do I put it, coordinated structure, uniform structure that gives the city the beauty that it is. Look at what Kagame is doing right now in Rwanda. There is a city for the poor and the underprivileged. If you enter there, the city is beautiful. No matter the fact that it is poor that are living there, but the structure is organized. It has a uniform structure.
The streets are well paved.
Well paved. Now you go now. There is also he named this new city he's trying to construct. I don't know. I've forgotten the name.
No, it's constructed already in Kigali.
In Kigali, a new city is trying to construct.
Yes, it's constructed already.
If you look at it critically, those are new areas that they develop. You see, the plan there is unique. When you enter there, you can think you are in Europe, because the plan there is. Kagame has done what we call a reconstruction of the nation, the capital Kigali. And that, I think that if we have to actually better off our society, we don't just need to construct, because construction is already going on. We need reconstruction. Reconstruction means we have to replan the city.
The creation of Douala 2, Yaoundé 2,
Yaoundé 2, Yaoundé 3. There are forests. We can go and reconstruct those environments, carve out plans, pave the streets, say where hospitals are supposed to be. Not this one that hospitals are mixed up in quarters, bars are there, just jumble up.
Okay. Somebody says, Stephen Mwambo from Goya says, Mr. Liu, the regime has also structured the system such that elected mayors can't really bring development to their areas. In our big cities, the government delegate, city mayors, is appointed to see that elected mayors can't fully exercise authority. In the councils, the treasurer are appointed or put there by the state. At the level of the urban development, the Ministry of Urban Development is put over the mayor. If an elected mayor wants to do more work to satisfy the people, the city mayor, the SDOs, the DOs, and the delegates for urban development are there to ensure credit doesn't go to the mayor, but to the president and the CPDM. Are these some of the bottlenecks that are also limiting the powers of the mayors, because the mayor is working with an appointed secretary general, the treasurer is also appointed, and for the case of big cities like Douala, we have mayors that are existing for Douala 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but there is a city mayor that actually supersedes most of the powers. He is the one in charge at many levels. Take the case for mayors for the case of Limbe and Boya, but there is a supervisory authority who is the senior divisional officer over them. Are these not structures that also stifle the free hand for mayors to effect the development that they desire for their respective municipalities or cities? Okay, apparently he's gone, but did you get Stephen Mambo's concern?
Yes, yes. I think what Stephen said is very, very correct. Yes.
Okay. Did you get me?
You were talking about issues that stifling development in with city mayors and elected officials, because the city mayors are appointed, and they are supervisory officials and dues and all that stuff. Leo, in a very serious context, there is a gremium of architects and people who keep city archives that says, that indicates the projection from experts that has been accepted by that gremium, that has nothing to do with mayors or deals. When they say the road passes here, be it Mayor Asanga, Mayor Ambe, Mayor Kum Leonard, there's nothing you are going to do about it. It will take the time it takes. If you are tolerated to operate there temporarily, go ahead and do it. But when that time comes, the means and everything is put in place for that project to take place, you just have to quit. And you would be notified that you were tolerated because you are unemployed, you had something doing there, we needed to occupy this space, but now the project is right, and that's this the way we want to go, and this the way we want to go. So it has nothing to do with the whims and caprices of politicians who are elected officials. Politicians are there to ensure continuity and ignite social projects that would keep a social cohesion and make sure that the laws, the disparities, the disagreement amongst the communities, amongst the various opinion groups, amongst the various diversions of opinion or political connotations are respected within a context which is a nation or a state. That's how it is, Leo. So we cannot keep beating about the bush, talking about mayors. Mayors are politicians, and they are there for social cohesion. He who presents the best social project wins the elections and continues with the project that the gremium had agreed upon, and that will save the general interest and other generations to come for the next 50 years at least, if we are serious. I'm done, Leo. I'm listening to you.
Thank you. Paddy Asanga, we have come to the end of today's edition of the program. We are glad you accepted our invitation to be part of today's edition of Prime Hour.
Yes, Leo, I will not hide from anybody. My Media Prime is like one of my baby in my heart. I saw you people grow up to this height. I saw people like Professor Apostle Ambe. I saw other panelists come here. When nobody was reckoning with you, you have made it. You have given some of us voices. You have given other people voices. Your objective position might not please people who want to hear you say something other than what they think, but I think you have stood the test of time, and Anglophones should be proud of my Media Prime. Thank you, Leo. Congratulations, Apostle Ambe. I'm with you guys.
Thank you very much, and also to you, Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. Thank you, Cameroonians. Thank you, Paddy. It's been a wonderful evening with you. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for all those who wrote and appreciated, those who criticized. Also, you're helping us get better. Thanks, my Media Prime, for the opportunity to voice our views.
We thank you all who took time off to watch this edition of Prime Hour, and to you, our great guys, Ewane, Nolinga, and also to you, Desmond Kiba, and to you, Tambe Brian, for supervision. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.